to achieve permanent residency?
Wow, this is a loaded question, but let me try and answer them in segments. Okay, I'll try to answer them in 8 precautions which a student should take so that we can have an overall understanding on what the basics you need to follow to achieve permanent residence in Canada. If you come here as a student, you must follow some of these precautions. First of all, I have to tell you that not all students will become permanent residents in Canada.
Yes.
Okay, so the quotas do not support that, especially in highly densely high student population provinces like Ontario. Okay, however, if a student understands immigration regulations and approaches it wisely and follows through from the time he or she lands in this country as a student, chances are extremely bright that they will become permanent residents of Canada and become citizens down the road and hold a Canadian passport
Yes.
as well. Okay, so now I always advise parents also to be part of this education process so that you can also support your kids to make the educated decision when applying for studying in Canada. Okay, we start with the number one precaution. Always learn or study in a publicly funded institution in Canada. You will not go wrong with PGWP, okay, PGWP, or postgraduate work permit, or post-study work permit. It's all the same. Okay, PGWP is a visa you obtain based on the study you do in Canada, and it relates to the duration of the course. You can always check if the institution is a publicly funded institution, because that's a question I always ask. Where do I go and check if a institution is publicly funded?
Yes.
And they can check on the Student Herald website, the studentherald.com/PFI. Am I correct?
Yes, PFI.
PFI. That's publicly funded institution, PFI. The number two precaution you have to do or understand is English is absolutely important. Be it for obtaining a good course in Canada or even applying for permanent residence later on. Even if you get less scores in English today and you get admissions and you come to Canada to study, try to pick up your English language before you apply for permanent residence, because you have to redo your IELTS exams before you apply for permanent residence. So make sure that you pick up your language, English. Number three precaution, take at least a 2-year course, a 2-year diploma in Canada. You can do a master's program or a diploma, but try to take at least a 2-year diploma, because a 2-year diploma program provides you with a 3-year PGWP, postgraduate work permit or a work permit. A 3-year work permit after your study gives you enough time for you to apply, gain that experience for permanent residence. And the 3-year work permit is the maximum duration of work permit you can receive for studying in Canada. Number four precaution, take a course you can manage. Please do not take a very tough course if your scores for bachelor's or master's, that means the course which you have done in your home country now, is a B or a C level. If you fail in your exams in Canada, you may lose your work permit opportunity. Also, when you lose your work permit opportunity, you lose your permanent residence opportunity as well. Okay. Also, you can work for 20 hours a week when you are studying in Canada, which will provide them with valuable work experience for a better job when they are on a work permit. Select a course which they can manage well. Don't take a very tough course. Okay. Number five precaution, try to have a fresh passport before you travel to Canada. Okay. the passport must have several years of validity, because from my experience, just the expiry date on your passport could sometimes put you in trouble. If you can obtain a renewed passport or you can apply for your passport renewal, and you have a passport with at least 5 or 10 years of validity, it could be much better for students when they come to Canada. Okay. Number 6 precaution: after your study in Canada and after your PGWP or postgraduate work permit, when those students apply for permanent residence, you will have to provide a police clearance certificate from every country you have lived for 6 months or more, and this is compulsory. So if you don't intend to revisit those countries again, please get your police clearance done. Say for example, your parents have moved to 2 or 3 different countries prior and you moved with them. You will have to obtain police clearance from the countries you have lived previously. Okay, and try to get it done. If you don't intend to revisit those countries, try to get it done right now. But please do not get your police clearance from your country of citizenship, because you're likely to visit your country of citizenship or your country of your parents' residency now, even before you apply for your permanent residence. Okay, so from these countries you may want to apply later at the time of applying for permanent residence.
Yes.
Now, number 7 precaution: try not to take a foreign course in Canada. Confusing, okay? But you must understand that you can, when you apply for to study in Canada, you can take a Canadian course or you can take a foreign course in Canada. Study a Canadian course by paying in Canadian dollars directly to the university or the college. Do not take a agent's course and sit with students from your home country only. You will also lose on tax credits, which you can save in Canada. We will address these more elaborately probably in another video, but this is very important. Try to take a Canadian course and not a foreign course in Canada. The number 8 precaution: if you have the financial resources, then do your masters. Doing masters is always better, but don't waste your time pursuing masters if your current marks in your education are low, or if your English language scores are low. If you cannot do masters, then aim for a nice diploma course with at least 2 years of duration. Okay, so don't try to pursue opportunities which is difficult to achieve. Okay, because if you get less scores today, your chances of you passing the masters becomes difficult, risky. Always better to take a diploma. But if you're very good in your studies, and if you have the financial resources, and if you have the language skills to support that, go ahead with your masters.
Canada has a ton of different ways to study, different types of institutions. Like there's colleges, universities, and there's private institutions as well. So which type of institution would you recommend a student go to if they're seeking permanent residency?
Yeah, the type of institution also influences the student's permanent residence chances in Canada. This is because the student's permanent residence option in Canada is based on work experience. All right? In most cases, work experience can earn the student. Work experience which the students earn has to be during the work permit period. So that means whenever the student is studying, they can work, but that work experience is not counted towards the permanent residence application. Okay, so post-study work permit which the student obtains when they study in a publicly funded institution. Okay, so that's what it is. So you need work permit to get permanent residence,
Yes.
and therefore you have to make sure that you study in an institution that qualifies you to get your work permit, post-study work permit. So it's very important, and that is why if you must study, the student must study in a publicly funded institution, which is either a community college or a university. So publicly funded institution. Students typically do not obtain a post-study work permit if they study in a private institution. Okay, therefore, make sure that when a student comes to Canada, they study in a publicly funded institution and not a private institution. If you study, or if the student studies in a private institution, then they will not get a post-study work permit, and you may have to go back to your home country after your study is complete. However, if you study in a publicly funded institution, then you, or the student, will be able to take advantage of the post-study work permit, and their work experience they can gain, which will allow them to become eligible for permanent residence under the federal programs. The next question is, where can I obtain the list of publicly funded institutions? And that's a question which so many people have asked me. There was no website which provided that list. The website, the Canadian government on their immigration website has a list of all institutions, which includes publicly funded and private, because they cannot differentiate between either or, because everybody is Canadian. Okay, but when you take a course, you must be careful, because you want work permit after your course. So you must always study in a publicly funded institution, and I think the Student Herald has come up with an answer. Am I right?
So we're currently working on preparing a list of the institutions, taking quite a few, right? So we're trying to get that posted. Now it will be posted on studentherald.com. So if you take a look at the website, just keep your eyes posted. Also, we'll actually do a post on our Facebook page as well when it comes out. So just keep your eyes on Facebook as well.